How did soldiers at Fort Abraham Lincoln get ready to go camping in the 1800s? Today on Discovering Fort Abraham Lincoln, let's find out. Welcome to Discovering Fort Abraham Lincoln. My name's Casey. Camping is one of the most popular things to do here in North Dakota, especially right here at the park. But what was camping like for the soldiers stationed here in Dakota Territory in the 1870s and 1880s? Well, for one, the soldiers called it campaigning, or going out on campaign. This would involve a lot of different jobs for the Army, like escorting railroad workers, surveying the Canadian border, or even stopping illegal settlement into the Black Hills. No matter what the goal of the campaign was, the life for the lowly soldier didn't change all that much once he was outdoors. Soldiers were required to live, eat, sleep, and work outdoors for months and weeks at a time. But what did they carry? Nowadays, a lot of people bring a wide variety of items when they go camping, like grills, RVs, chairs, maybe even some s'more supplies. But fort soldiers were required to only pack and carry the items they absolutely needed. What a soldier wore while he was here at the fort and what he wore while he was out in the field was drastically different. We have Private Stensley here wearing what an infantryman or foot soldier would be wearing if he was working at the fort. He has on his blue forage cap with bugle insignia, a nice blue army coat, and fancy leather belt. All of these items would be left at the fort if soldiers were going out into the wilderness for weeks at a time because they were too nice and could be ruined very quickly. So we're going to take all of those items off. Soldiers would often wear older and worn-out uniforms for their weeks of hiking and living outdoors. Oftentimes, high-ranking officers like Generals George Custer or George Crook couldn't be identified as officers because their clothes were so worn down. They would also wear a more functional campaign hat like this one here. It was much easier to keep the sun and rain out than the regular garrison cap. Soldiers would also wear ammo belts like this one they made themselves to make ammunition more accessible while in the field. When it comes to what the soldiers carried, they definitely took a modest approach. Despite the fact that these men would be marching hundreds or even thousands of miles and could be living outside for months on end, fighting enemies, animals, and the weather, they only packed the bare essentials. Private Richard Flynn of the 4th Infantry Regiment remarked that in 1876, they only carried 150 rounds of ammunition per man, 1 blanket, 1 overcoat, and no change of underclothing. The head general of the U.S. Army, William T. Sherman, wanted soldiers to carry a little bit more when he stated soldiers should enclose a pair of pants, drawers, socks, and flannel shirt extra rolled up in the shelter cloth worn as a scarf. So to demonstrate to you folks what soldiers carried while on campaign for months on end, we're going to combine these two descriptions. So we have Private Stensley dressed for campaign. We're going to add the haversack. This will carry 3 to 5 days worth of hard biscuits, salted meat, beans, and coffee, all the things they need to eat. The canteen, which of course carries the soldiers' water, was often filled from rivers or streams out on the prairie. Then we are going to start with the blanket, stretched out. With the big, warm overcoat next. And a pair of extra underwear to top it off. Then we are going to roll this up, tie it off with some rope, And there you go. And just like General Sherman said, you wear it kind of like a scarf. But this scarf holds all the clothes and supplies you may have for the next few weeks or months. Well, I think we can all agree that that form of camping is a little bit more rugged than what most North Dakotans are used to. Well, I'm Casey. Thanks for watching Discovering Fort Abraham Lincoln. If you have any questions about today's video, comment them below and we'll get back to you. Thanks for watching. For a fun activity, have students create a campaign packing list that can only include the items that you can carry on your own back and what you would need for months on end beside food and water.